Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Rohan Bijou, and today we're going to take a look at the HP Omen 27i gaming monitor. So I found this in Best Buy for about $400, and I know it's a really hefty price, and I want to check in this video if it's worth it or not. So I want to share my experience with you guys. So today in this video, we're going to do an unboxing, talk about the specs, both physical and the display, and then finally, I'm gonna talk about my experience and then finally give you my verdict. So before we begin, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to watch more future content like this. Like this video if you found this helpful, and comment any questions and concerns, and I'll try my best to answer them. And if you are looking for more monitors, I do have a playlist right over here that you can go check out with a bunch of other monitors. So you can check that out right after this video. So without further ado, let's go right into the unboxing. So the box isn't really that heavy, and the design of the box is really minimalistic and looks pretty cool. Let's pop the box open and slice the tape on the top. So this box was the hardest to open in my opinion, and it resulted in me tearing open the entirety of the box to see the contents inside, and took me a solid 5 minutes to open. So inside of the box, we can find some paperwork, a power cable, a power supply brick, a 6 feet long DisplayPort cable, and a USB-A to USB-B adapter. Then we can pull out the stand of the monitor, and it actually feels really durable because it's made of metal and also a bit of plastic, but really high quality plastic. And in addition to that, you receive an Allen key, which we'll be using soon. Finally, we can pull out the monitor from the box and take the cover off to reveal the display. The display itself was a bit heavy, and let's place it flat on the table and take out the sticker, which is pretty satisfying. To connect the stand to the display, all you have to do is connect as such and put the screws and tighten them with the provided Allen key, and it should fit right in place. And here is the HP Omen 27i in all its glory. Since we're done with the unboxing, let's connect my monitor to my setup and move swiftly to the specs. First, let's talk about the physical design of the monitor. The Omen is a flat monitor that weighs around 50 pounds if you choose to use the stand provided, and about 11.6 pounds if you choose just to use the display. Talking about the stand, the base of it is 10 inches by 10 inches in a diamond shape, which actually opens up a lot of room for desk space, so it's ideal for a small table. As you probably have noticed, the stand is super slim, and it is also impressively solid with a mixture of both metal and high quality plastic, so you don't have to worry about a lot of wobbling. It's almost super hard to figure out which part is plastic and which one is metal in both the stand and the monitor itself, and it really shows how well it's been manufactured and designed. Integrated into the stand itself, there's a wire management sort of shelf to organize your wires. There's also a designated headphone stand on the top of the stand, which is really thoughtful. If you don't want to use the stand, the Omen 27i is VESA supported with a 100 by 100 millimeter mount. The only catch is that you will need a mount that can turn 45 degrees. So if you have a VESA mount currently and it can't turn, then that might be a disadvantage. Since we're in the back, we can talk about the general design. The monitor itself is made out of plastic, but it feels super durable. It's very simple and minimalistic and looks really cool. This would be great as an open monitor that isn't facing to a wall, but instead an audience, so people can see the back of the monitor and look impressed. There's an elevated diamond shape on the back of the monitor. That's a representation of the Omen logo. And here's where you can find the ambient lighting, the ventilation, and the ports. The ambient lighting wraps around the diamond itself, and there's even a rectangle of ambient lighting on the bottom to project light downwards that could be used as a reading light, but also for ambience. To talk about the ports, on the left of the monitor, you can find a 3.5mm analog audio out port, one HDMI 2.0 port, one DisplayPort 1.2 port, and a power input port. On the left, you can find a Kensington lock for safety, two USB 3.0 ports, and a USB uplink port. Back to the right, we have a toggle stick to manage the monitor software, and the power button is located right near it. Now, let's talk about ergonomics, which is actually a place where the Omen lacks the most. This monitor has a height swivel adjustment about 5.0 inches and has no swivel, and can't be made portrait to use it as a secondary monitor, but it does have a minimal tilt. Overall, the ergonomics is kind of bad with the existing stand, and if you do value it, this might not be the greatest monitor for you. The size of the monitor is a great mid-sized monitor for a home office setup. To answer the comment about why I always review 27-inch monitors, is that it's just a really good mid-ground that most people can agree to. It's a mid-sized monitor that could be very useful to multiple desk spaces. So I just thought that it'd be a great mid-ground. The bezels on the monitor are 0.3 inches, which is really nice, but it does have a huge chin with the Omen logo. And that's pretty much it for the physical specs. Now let's move on to the display. So the HP Omen 27i has a 27-inch 1440p QHD display with an IPS panel, which is amazing for pixel level clarity and is built ideally for gaming. The IPS panel not only helps us with reduced motion blur, but also helps us display the colors as true as possible. possible. This is leagues better in display quality than the Omen 27, which utilized a TN panel, which is great for refresh rate, but not really for picture quality. The aspect ratio is 16:9 for the 27i with a 109 ppi pixel density. The contrast ratio is 1000 to 1 on paper, but in actual use cases, it falls around 600 to 700 to 1 contrast ratio, which is actually super disappointing in such a price range. The Omen 27i has a 165Hz refresh rate and is perfect for buttery smooth visuals. The response time for the monitor is really low at around 1 millisecond. The Omen 27i does not have local dimming or even HDR support, and the black uniformity was decent for me. It could be worse for certain people. It depends on the model. The monitor covers 99% of the sRGB color space, 90% the Adobe RGB, and 90% of the DCI-P3 color space. So it's pretty decent for video and photo editing if you'd like. The 27i is also G-Sync and FreeSync compatible, which can provide a seamless tear-free experience. The monitor also provides great horizontal viewing angles, so it's safe to bring a friend along with you to watch you play on the side. The inbuilt software is not really that great. It's pretty confusing to use, but you can customize a lot. There's a lot of features like a stopwatch for either speed runs or even timers. You can change the ambient lighting. You can change different filters. There's so many things to customize on the software itself. It would take so long for me to cover that. There's so many things you can play around with, which is really great, but the user experience itself is really not that great. So that was pretty much it for all of these specs. So now let's finally move on to my experience and my final verdict. So I've been using this monitor for some time right now, and to be honest, I've had a decent experience. I wouldn't put it at number 1 as the best experience I've ever had. This monitor actually currently holds that. You can check that out, but it's been pretty good so far. I've been using the monitor to mostly play Rainbow Six, which I'm terrible at, Fortnite, Batman Arkham Knight, Assassin's Creed, and so on. I personally love the overall design of the monitor and its build, which is really durable and looks great in my setup. The headphone stand on the back is usually sometimes good, but I wouldn't recommend it in the long run because it could possibly damage the earmuffs. The colors were true to life and the visuals were stunning. Since I was using an Xbox One X, the refresh rate was capped at 120Hz, but the gameplay was buttery smooth. This monitor could 100% give a great competitive advantage in multiplayer games that require reflex and quickness, but the only problem was the contrast, which was okay, which doesn't look great in some gameplay, but if you're playing games that are mostly darker, like Batman Arkham Knight, it does work in a sort of advantage. It looks way better. Another big letdown for the HP Omen 27i was the ergonomics. So I really prefer monitors that are ergonomic, and that's a really huge deciding factor for me, and the HP Omen 27i wasn't really that. So I personally love monitors that can either tilt, swivel, you can make it portrait if you want to use it as a secondary monitor, but the HP Omen I just was like really stiff. You can't move it at all except for tilting and moving it up and down a bit. It was a big bummer. So when considering both the pros and the cons, I finally come to my verdict and my final score. I would give the HP Omen 27i an 80 out of 100. It does some great stuff with the design, the ambient, and also with the refresh rate, the 1440p display, and the IPS panel. It was great in all that standpoints. Some places that lacked, as I mentioned, were ergonomics, contrast ratio, and also a bit of the user experience for the software itself. But overall, it is a decent monitor. It's not the best, it's not the worst. Store in the middle. So thank you guys for watching. As always, I've left a couple links in the description if you do want to purchase the HP Omen 27i. I've left a couple links. They're non-affiliated. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to watch more future content like this. Like this video if you found this helpful, and comment any questions and concerns. I'll try my best to answer them. So thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.